I felt like if I didn't breastfeed, then I failed. Mom groups definitely saved me. Like
Yeah.
the day I found out I was pregnant was the same day I found out that I had been accepted for a master's program that I was just about to start.
Welcome to Tiny Tales,
where we explore the unique experience
that giving birth is to every woman.
We will hear the personal tales of women in Ghana who will take us on their journeys
to motherhood, from conception to birth,
to the first 3 months after the baby is born.
This season is sponsored and co-hosted by Gaia Organic,
your plug for fresh, healthy organic food in Jawulu, Accra. And my name is Lisa, and I'll be your host. In this episode, I'll be talking to Ino, talkative mom, mother of DJ age 4 and Drew age 3, and the story of two very different births. Welcome,
Thank
Ino.
you, Lisa.
Thank you for coming and for sharing your story.
Okay.
And every birth story always starts from the beginning. So
Yeah.
let's start with DJ.
Okay.
Was he planned?
So none of my births were actually planned, but then DJ, he's my first. We thought we were ready, but I was still surprised to find out I was pregnant.
You and your husband have talked about it. You wanted to have kids. You were getting there, but not necessarily right now.
Yes.
I think a lot of us can relate to that one. Like, somewhere in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But then you found out, and how was the pregnancy?
So honestly, I had a very easy birth. I mean, easy pregnancy, not even birth.
Mm-hmm.
So easy pregnancy. I didn't have any issues with like spitting, throwing up, like nothing like that. Yeah, I slept well. I ate a lot. Yeah,
you were eating for two, remember?
Yeah, I ate a lot. And yeah, I think mostly I was fatigued, but nothing too serious.
So none of the nausea, none of all that from the first trimester?
Nausea, no morning sickness, like nothing.
Nice.
Yeah, nothing.
Your body was just ready.
Yeah.
Some of us are like that. That's good.
All my friends say like, I hate you so much, like your pregnancy. So yeah, my mom's pregnancy was the same way. So yeah, I kind of thought.
I think there is something about that is in the genes. Like the way my mom talks about her births to me and my brother, I can relate. Were you nesting? Were you getting ready for him to come?
Yes. Oh, I mean, I was really anxious. So like every day, like. So first of all, I got a journal. I got a baby journal, and then I started to buy stuff. I started to prepare the nursery until the last day. My bag was packed. I think maybe like 2 months before, because I was like so ready.
Were you reading? Were you doing all?
I was reading. I put together my own baby shower. So I have a background in events, and I didn't want anyone to throw a baby shower for me because I really wanted it in a particular way. Yeah. So I
can imagine you're difficult to plan parties.
No, yeah, I am.
And then the birth, was it? Did you go to your due date? Was it early?
So so I had him at 38 weeks. It was actually just about 10 days to my due date. The day I went into labor. Well, I thought I had gone into labor, but I think it was Braxton Hicks at the time.
Uh-huh.
So I was rushed to the hospital. My husband rushed me to the hospital. It happened somewhere at dawn. We went to the hospital, and I thought I was in pain. But then they were just like, no, like you haven't even started labor yet.
Oh my God.
What? So I was told to go back home. I went back home, and then a couple of hours later, I went to pee, and then I saw the show, what they call the show, which is the mucus plug. So I called the hospital, and they said, "Oh, you need to come in now." So then I got to the hospital, and I'm thinking, okay, it's go time, and then they check for like if I've dilated, and then. I think at that time I was about 3 cm, and I was like, what does that mean? Because I'd read, but then I still felt like, no, the pain I'm in, I'm probably, and they were like, oh no, like, and it should progress. It told me I should progress every hour. So for every hour, I'll probably progress 1 cm.
So anyway, you can do the calculation. You're like, I'm at 3 centimeters now.
So in about 5 hours, in about 7 hours, I'll be in labor. And at that time, I thought checking dilation meant maybe plugging a machine. I didn't know they were going to insert their fingers in there.
Painful.
Which is painful, very uncomfortable. I was like, what's happening? And then they have to do this every hour. So the next hour they come to check, I was still at 3 cm. The next hour they came to check, I was still at 3. I was not progressing.
Were you on any sort of medication?
Nothing. They told me I had to get to somewhere about 5 cm before they would give me an epidural, because I really wanted an epidural.
Yeah.
But the thing about typical Ghanaian mothers, because my mom was there, was like, no, what do you need an epidural for? We all went the natural way. You don't need it. You can do it. And I was just looking at her like, but fast forward, they checked hours later. And then I was somewhere around, I think it was like almost 9 cm. And it was too late for me to get an epidural.
Yeah.
so that I had to have the baby without one. So
Yeah.
that was brutal. Like the pain. It was a lot.
So how long were you like? So how long did it actually take you to get to that?
48 hours. Like I was in labor for 2 solid days of just pain. Yeah, it was a lot. It
And
was a
no
lot.
medication of any
No
sort to numb you.
medication.
Yeah.
I also had an episiotomy, so I had a tear, and I had to be stitched. So that was a whole thing. Like I
Yeah.
didn't know I'll push out a baby. I would have a tear. I'll have to push out a placenta. Like it's literally like you giving birth to the placenta, and then after that, then you're cleaning in there, then they're stitching you up, and I was just like, I thought you pop out the baby and that's it.
And then we're done.
And then there was this whole other thing.
Yeah.
So then during that period, my husband was watching the nurse who was cleaning the baby, and I'm sure he was wondering why, because I was still in there. Like I was in there for a while. So then after that was done, then I was wheeled back to my room. But one thing I want to mention is I wasn't one of those moms that, when I gave birth, it was just this moment where it's like tears were falling down. No, it wasn't like that. Like I didn't even want the baby on me.
Right.
Like they put him on me, and I was just like, come take him. Like I'm so weak. Can you just like come for? Like I don't want to hold him.
Yeah.
Because I was so tired. Like imagine being in labor for that long.
Yeah.
And that's also part of the reason why I had the tear, because I could not push.
Right.
I was too exhausted.
tired.
Yeah, I could not push. So then they'll ask me to push, and then I couldn't. And so they just said, okay, you know what? Looks like we have to just cut you.
Wow. When you think about all that, do you feel anger? Do you feel anything towards like, oh, how do you
The
feel?
experience?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I think I was honestly just grateful for it to be over.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, you know what? Thank God it's over. Like I'm grateful. During that period, yeah, I was really upset. Like I was like, this is not what I signed up for. No one.
Right.
Why didn't anyone tell me this? And that's the other thing, because I felt like even my mom, like I'm like, you could have at least warned me. You told me, oh, it's painful, but you get over it and you forget. Here I am, how many years after, and I still remember it very vividly.
And they do say, they do say that we forget, but our minds forget, but our bodies won't forget. So I don't want to jump too much to Drew, but did you remember, like, how did your body react? Do you think there was a memory there?
So I can't speak for everyone, because I had my baby a year after. I had my second a year after my first. So for me, it was fresh in my memory.
Yeah.
And that was part of the reason why I panicked when I found out I was pregnant with Drew, because I was like, I literally just went through this pain, and I don't think I'm even fully healed, because my first was 3 months at the time.
Yeah.
But I didn't find out I was pregnant till he was 5 months. So when I found out I was 5 months pregnant, I was already 2 months pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I found out, it was still very fresh in my memory. I was scared. Like I was like, can I do this and all that? Yeah. So I don't really think you forget. And I've spoken to quite a number of moms who have also agreed with me that they don't forget. So
no, they don't. And they say that giving birth can be a trauma, like an actual trauma. Like we have traumas from other things, other experiences as well. Giving birth is especially because first time we just don't know what we're doing, and and even with second time it can be different from the first time. And
exactly.
So we can't really talk about it enough. Like we need to keep talking about this and being okay with that experience that we went through. It doesn't mean that we don't love our children. It just means that experience was really, really hard.
When my second with Drew, I didn't go through labor for that long. It was really quick, but I still never had that bonding experience with him, just like my first. Like even though I didn't struggle as much as the first, when they put him on me again, I wanted them to come pick him up. It just was not my experience. Like I don't know, there were no tears welling up my ears. In fact, if I cried because I was probably still in pain. Right? Like, it was not, it wasn't because like, oh my gosh, like what a beautiful birth. No, my birth was not beautiful. I didn't see it that way.
I was the same. I also had, when they put Essie on me, I was also like, so who's going to take her now? Like to be honest, I was just relieved that she was out. I felt a massive sense of relief. It took me a full day to get there, which is not even long. Some people can take even longer than that. How long did it take for you to connect?
So with my first, after having him, I went into postpartum depression. So what happened was I started to feel like, okay, I wasn't given enough information, right? Yeah. My mom also went into postpartum depression after she had me. Oh, okay. And she never really told me the details. Like I remember hearing it a bit, but then she never really told me the details. So she started seeing the signs when I was experiencing but I had no idea I was even going through that. The other thing I have to say that contributed to that was that I could not produce breast milk. Like I couldn't produce. I think it was somewhere maybe the third day or so that it started to come. But even that, it wasn't enough. And then also, of course, my husband, I mean, he's never been pregnant. He's never gone through this. I've never, well, it was also my first, but then,
Yes.
but then for him, it was like he had no clue about what I was going through.
Right.
And I didn't know, so I couldn't even communicate what I was going through.
Yeah.
I just felt really lonely, and it was just like
Yeah.
this dark place that I was in. On one of the instances, we went out to buy groceries, because that's the thing. You still have to feed people, like you still also
Yes.
have to eat. I went out with my husband to go buy groceries. We came home, and when we got home, I remember just opening the car door, did not close the car door, didn't take anything from the car. Like I was just like, you handle it, whatever. Walked and went straight to the room. I didn't go check on my baby, nothing. And I was just like, you know what, everyone will live. I just went there and cried. Let me tell you, nothing had happened. Nothing had happened on the ride. Nothing had happened when we went to a group. Nothing. I just literally just walked straight to the room
Wow.
and cried. I think I cried for maybe like a full hour or something. And then when I was done, I went to eat because I was still hungry. And then that's when my mom was like, yeah, like I think
She recognized some of
yeah,
it.
she realized, there's
How old was
something.
DJ at this point?
Probably maybe about a month. Yeah.
So at this point, was breastfeeding working for you at this point?
It
Or-
was not.
So you were using bottle as well? Were you doing both?
So yeah, I was doing both, and I had tried everything. So out here, fenugreek tea. So I'll go buy fenugreek tea, make it, drink it. Didn't work. Then my mom was like, during her time, it was mash kinky.
Okay.
So actually, the mash kinky, it started at the hospital. So she was bringing me the mash kinky. Then she's like, to prepare, your boots for. I think I might have drank like maybe, I don't know how many gallons of mash kinky. Did not work. And they said, if you add granules to it, it works. Added peanut butter. I started even drinking granite soup every day. It didn't work. My mom said there's this local green soup. Look, let me tell you, I tried everything. It didn't work. And then oats. That was the last thing I tried as well. So finally, what happened was I went online, and then they said, there are these breastfeeding supplements that are great. So I checked. They said there's the number one breastfeeding supplement, blah, blah. I went on Instagram, found someone who was selling it, bought it, and that was it. When I took it, when I said that was it, I mean literally my breast milk supply just cut off like this. Like instantly it dried. Like, and I remember blaming myself. I was like, why did if I didn't take this? But it was like from a place of desperation, because I wanted to try it all. And then as a new mom, you want to be the one to feed the baby. Like I'm talking about like naturally.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you're able to provide like the best, nourished food for the baby and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Were you feeling like, why was there so much emotion for you connected to breastfeeding?
I felt like if I didn't breastfeed, then I failed. I thought every woman could breastfeed. And that was the thing that we were told in Ghana. It's like, they're not smart if they're not breastfed, or they don't, like, they get sick, their immune system is so weak. And these were all lies. And then I was formula feeding more. But the good thing is, he loved the formula. He loved the bottle. Number one, I don't judge any mom who can breastfeed.
Yeah.
And I'm all for fed is best.
Me too.
Like when I remember during August when it was, I think that's breastfeeding awareness month.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm over there advocating for fed is best. I'm like, bottle feeding, breast, whatever. Because my second son, same thing. I bottle fed him. They never got sick. Not once. Like I was like, all these things are myths. Like they never got sick. The only time they got sick was when they started school. Because at that
all
time,
the other baby germs and all that, all the other kids. Do you think if your breastfeeding had been spot on from day one, that maybe your postpartum, do you think it was a big contribution to that?
So that was a contribution. The fact that I told you I got stitched.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even sit. And when I pee, I would be in pain. When so all that was happening. So it's like every day I'm crying.
Yeah.
So the pain from the from the stitches, the lack of breast milk, and then also just sometimes you get in your head because you're not sure what you're doing. So all that was happening, and I was one of the first to have a baby. I mean, I'm talking about in my friend group because I was quite young.
Okay.
I was one of the first, so I didn't have anyone to talk to.
Did you do that? Did you share how you were feeling with your husband?
Yeah, I did. So the thing about my husband is, so he's not very expressive. Like he's the opposite of me. Like I say everything I'm thinking. He doesn't. He's more present. Like he would be there for you without saying anything.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, he was there. He listened, but I mean, that was really no. It wasn't enough. So yeah.
Even that's why we need our friends. the friends where we can keep rehashing the same thing again and again and again, who will listen, who will hear it from all angles, who will hear it again and again. Like that's
Yeah.
why that's important. So I understand why you could definitely feel lonely in that one.
Mom groups definitely saved me. Like
Yeah. Oh, okay.
joining.
Were you in a mom group?
So I was in a mom group. I had actually I'd purchased something from a shop, and then she had a mom group. So she said, "Oh, I have this mom group," and I said, "Okay, cool. Then let me join." And then I was like, "What is this world? Like, it's just like a world of like people are going through the same things, giving advice. Like it was just so great. Like because that's the thing when you're a new mom." Sometimes like where to get this, you don't even know where to even begin.
Yeah.
So it was great having that that space and that community and all that. So that definitely helped.
Yeah.
That definitely.
Did you then with Drew? Did you also have postpartum depression? With
No,
Drew?
I did not. At that time, I also feel like I had a better support system, and I could recognize the signs very quickly that if this is happening, I know what's that kind of thing. I never went into a dark space.
So do you feel between the two boys, did you connect faster with Drew then? Because you didn't have that start to motherhood?
I don't think Drew gave me a choice because he
Right.
was very clingy. So I couldn't that's the thing. First day he wanted to be held. So and this is a baby that would not sleep unless you're holding him. So I had to hold him, even if I didn't want to, I didn't feel like it. I had to hold him, I had to carry him. He wanted to be cuddled, he wanted to be rocked before he put him down. It was a lot. But yeah, I guess that's probably why maybe I bonded with him faster than DJ. DJ did not want to be held. Like now he's a little bit better, but then that's just his personality.
I also want to just mention on this with breastfeeding, because breastfeeding, natural, yes, easy, no. Those two things don't equate. And I think that's what we really have to educate people a lot more on.
Yeah.
That yes, it's natural, our bodies, but doesn't happen to everybody. I had a lot of milk from the beginning, but my daughter didn't latch on properly. So I had a wound, and I also had a breast infection twice as well. And it was only after about those first 2 months where my mom had found some ways that I could like heal the wound. That was when it became good, but I was so close to giving it up. And it's funny how with breastfeeding that we don't want to give it up.
Yes.
We don't want to give it up, but why not? And my husband kept saying, just stop, just go on formula. Like that's what because he saw me in pain, and there's a lot of breastfeeding in the beginning. I just couldn't stop. I felt, and then when I finally stopped when she was 18 months, I had such a hard time stopping.
Wow.
And it wasn't even her. She was actually fine. 2 days after we stopped, she was fine. But it was like, but who am I now that I'm not I'm not the breast anymore?
Yeah.
Like who am I now?
Yeah.
It took me a while. So I definitely also, if I'm ever gonna have another one, I'm not even sure how if I want to breastfeed. Like maybe because formula is really fine. It's really perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And I think we shouldn't kill ourselves trying to breastfeed as if that's where mom is. Being a mom is not in the breasts.
Exactly.
Not
exactly.
at all. Yeah.
And I think that the other part about breastfeeding is also like the judgment that comes with it. Lack of breastfeeding, because you go to the hospital and then the minute you take out the bottle, it's like the nurses looking at you like, what's wrong with your boob? Why are you not breastfeeding? Especially when they realize that it's a baby, an actual baby. I remember talking to a midwife, right? And she's a midwife and a lactation consultant. And even she struggled to breastfeed her daughter. And that's because her daughter had a tight tongue. Yeah, had a tight tongue. And I don't know if it was a third degree or fourth, something like that, but it was really severe to the point where the daughter could not latch.
Yeah.
So she would express and then bottle feed. And she was judged because it was like, you're a lactation consultant. How are you not?
But in the end, a healthy baby, a happy baby, also a happy mom. Like if we have a baby that is upset and crying all the time or can't sleep or in pain of any sort, then how are we going to be able to function as moms? When you came back from the hospital with DJ, your mom was there to help you out.
Yes.
How long was she there with you?
So my mom wanted me to move to her place. That way she could help me longer.
Yeah.
Then I just said no, like we live just about 20 minutes apart. You can come over to my place because I wasn't ready to go there. So she came, but she would come and go because it was really it was close by. So she would come in. I mean, she'd come in the evening, stay overnight, and then leave during the day. So she was there for about 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she helped you with the nights.
She helped me with the nights.
That's nice.
Yeah, she helped me with the nights. That was really helpful.
And I guess then you were 5 months pregnant, found out you're pregnant again. How did you react to that?
So the day I found out I was pregnant was the same day I found out that I had been accepted for a master's program that I was just about to start. So I was really panicking. Like I was like, how am I going to do this? But I mean, I had to do it. So I went on, I started the program, pregnant, with a baby, because my first was still a baby.
Yeah.
The only thing that helped was, again, his independence. I was really tough. I would not advise anyone to do this, honestly. I didn't plan it. If it's not planned, fine, but don't think, oh, you know, it looks like it's been done before. So, I mean, there's something, you know,
Yeah.
please space them out, because it
Yeah.
was hard. Now it's definitely easier. Now it's like they go to school together, you know, all that. Like now both of them are there. It's not like I have a baby and then I have one. So that's the advantage. But at the beginning, it's really, really hard. And it's also unfair to the first, because I feel like he didn't really get to enjoy being a baby. When you bring a fresh baby home, immediately the other baby at home looks like an adult.
Right.
The baby just suddenly looks so grown. It's like, go feed yourself. It's just like, this is an actual baby.
Responsibility, that they're suddenly like, wait a minute, I'm taking care of your younger brother, and this baby is a year. And
then he noticed, like, there's certain things that he realized. He realized that anytime the baby is crying, I lift the baby. So all of a sudden he wasn't clingy, but he became clingy. It's like, now I want you to also carry me now. You know. So it was really, really hard at the beginning.
But I wanted to just for this one and just say that I found it interesting to hear how you had two different, well, pregnancy is somewhat similar, but births, very, very different births, and also how the memory of one carried over to the other, and also how that sort of fear and panic went with you to the second one. Do you feel like you've processed it now? So if you were to have another one, do you feel like it would be different?
Actually, I do feel like, I mean, I feel like that's all I do, though. Maybe it's because of what I do. So I talk about motherhood all the time. So I guess now I'm in a better space to do that. But if you ask me today, I'm done. I also think I'm done just because I'm done potty training. Like, and that's like a whole different thing. But when you're done potty training, it's like, do you really want to do this all over again?
Yeah.
So I'm happy with where I am now. I'm able to do things. They are in school, you know.
So what advice would you give somebody? So based on your whole experience, what is one thing that you take out of the last almost 5 years? That is one thing that maybe either you could have maybe wished to have done differently, or maybe you don't want another woman to go through the same that you went through.
I mean, one thing I would say is that, first of all, no one was born a mom. So you do not have to automatically figure everything out the moment you have a baby. So just know that it's just going on in here. It's not really the reality. Every day it's an adventure. I mentioned that to you earlier. It's an adventure. It's like you're just discovering things. Like, I even think that my mom is still discovering things about me. I heard something that was so profound. The person had said that she does not judge her parents based on certain things that her parents did when she was younger, because now she's actually her parents' age at the time when they had her. And she's like, they were still really young and they were still figuring life out. Learn from it, grow from it, and that's it. But you weren't born with, you know, superpower, like motherly superpowers that you can suddenly, you know.
There is no such thing.
There is no such thing. You will learn. You will learn, and it's absolutely fine.
Thank you, Inu. I really appreciate your story, and I think for me, I really resonated with the whole breastfeeding story. And I really feel like that I'm not the only one who probably feels that one. And my hope is that for any new mom sitting out there and you're thinking of breastfeeding but you're struggling with it, just remember that the best thing is actually that your baby is fed. That's the most important thing.
Fed is best.
Fed is best. I'm with you on that one. We'll do a whole campaign next year, August, for that. I'm with you on that. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And thank you for viewing. The power of the personal story is that we all relate differently. We want to hear your thoughts and your feedback, so please leave us a comment. And thank you, Inu, Talkative Mom. And thank you to everybody viewing at home. This show is created and hosted by Tiny Reuses. Thank you.